I've been in politics for,
as a politician, not as a practitioner.
Not even.
You were also doing communication there.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
I went there as a professional. Myself and Sipong Gwema, Palesa Murudu, a chap called Lorato Tsenkeng, a chap called Luzu Kokoti.
Yeah.
Right? That was my team, which I assembled.
Okay, for communication.
When I joined COPE as a communicator. I was actually the first chief information officer of COPE.
Okay.
I was not a politician. In fact, the president of COPE used to kick us out of the meetings.
Yeah.
To say, can the staff please leave?
Yeah.
Well, Terra was funny like that. He's the one who destroyed the thing.
Yeah.
You know, how do you say your communicators must get out of a meeting? And then you decide things there the whole day. Then you say to them, can you please tell the public what we discussed? How do we know? You were not there.
Who was behind COPE?
Well, I mean,
I know there have been stories.
What are the stories?
I don't know, breakaway of the ANC, other people.
No. COPE was formed by people within the ANC. I think that's enough to say.
Yeah.
Right? If you look at the key leaders of COPE, very few of them were not in the ANC.
Yeah.
Right? Whether you talk about Smuts Ngonyama or even Alan Busak, who sort of tried to come in and was kicked out.
Yeah.
Right? You look at Mbazima Shilowa. All of these guys were in the ANC.
Yeah.
And that's part of the problem.
Wasn't Mbeki in the COPE?
The problem, no, Mbeki was more of they used to call him a Dalai Lama. In other words, just a father who was supportive of the idea, right?
Yeah.
But it would be wrong to say he was a member. He was never a member. He was very clear about that.
Okay.
But the issue is, right, the problem with the failure of COPE is because it was actually an ANC light.
Yeah,
right?
it took...
Even the habits.
Yes.
Even the habits of these leaders. And I know some of them are angry with me. Some of them don't even talk to me because you guys ask me in this podcast to say things. They don't talk to me. They say, how can you say this about us and so on? But I may give you an example of a meeting. Terra Lekota goes to a big conference of COPE and says almost something that the BTA is saying today is interesting, funny. Race will no longer be a criteria for affirmative action. I mean, that's a crazy, crazy notion.
Yeah.
What is affirmative action if he's not going to talk about race?
Yeah.
He says this in a launch meeting, launch conference in Bloemfontein.
Yeah.
Repeats this. I repeat, race will not be a criteria for affirmative action. Okay. So we then say to him afterwards, you said the wrong things. We need to do damage control. We need to get the Black Lawyers Association on and everybody to talk. And now we are putting our spin doctors' heads on. He's killing us.
Yeah.
Because he was basically saying, we don't need BE, you don't need this. In fact, he already said it in some of our meetings. He asked me, I remember my first meeting where I almost regretted in my first meeting why the hell I joined this.
Yeah.
Because Sarah says something like, why BEE? Why BEE? Why not economic empowerment? Why BEE?
Yeah.
My God. Must we give a lecture about what does BEE stand for? Which is what I had to do in my first meeting. To say, no, Chief, this is the elements of BEE. Ownership, this. And he's writing. Furiously. Does the guy not sit on cabinet where they discuss this thing?
Yeah.
Anyway, back to that story. We come to a meeting of executives, of the top executives, at the beginning of the new year.
Yeah.
Remember, we launched in December, now we're in January. We're now coming to plan. The elections are coming, we're coming to plan. And then Terra is not in this meeting. There are all these leaders, and Bazima is chairing the meeting. We say, we need to issue a statement to contradict what the president said.
Yeah.
We didn't put it quite like that, West, because they want to be defensive. We must correct it. That there's no such a thing as a policy.
Yeah.
Because we are speaking at the end of the conference, people assume this is what we spent 3 days discussing.
Yeah.
You know what they said? They said, no, he never said that.
Wow.
They said he never said so.
And he's in the meeting?
No, he's not in a meeting.
Oh.
Yeah, so you can say that because he's not in a meeting.
Yeah.
Right? I said, not only did he say so, he repeated it.
Yeah.
We want us to open the laptop now and show you his speech. But that meeting resisted to contradict him.
Yeah.
Right? That sounds exactly like the ANC. When they were faced with Zuma in 2020, in 2009, they set up a committee to go and exonerate Zuma and come up with a fake judgment from that, not judgment, this pronouncement from this NPA head who dusted off some old judgment from God knows where. Yeah. Right? It's exactly the same playbook.
Oh, the guy who made it all about the tapes. And,
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, not even about that. He just got Mche.
Yes.
It's a shame that he's from Opani, around the area. Yeah, you understand? So, what killed COPE is that it wanted to be an ANC light. Yeah. Right? And in fact, some of them even verbalized the fact that, no, this is our own thing, and what are these people talking about? This is our own thing, you know. And people always ask, why was there so much fighting between Bazima and Terra? We even had to bring Reverend Dandala.
Yes.
Part of what killed
and then they blew it.
Oh, yeah. What killed COPE, what blew it was its potential, in a sense, in an ironic sense. Yeah. Why am I saying this? Both Mbazima and Terra, I don't care what they think, all right? They both saw themselves as head of state. That's how big a potential.
But you know, this thing...
Because this was a first real split in a long time of the ANC. Right? Yeah. And there were people within the ANC who were coping quietly. Yeah. So it gave them this good, gravitas, or rather, if you like, energy and belief and hope that this thing actually will take over what the ANC government. Like COPE is badly executed. Yeah. Part of the bad execution at COPE was two guys, old men, who just could not decide who amongst them should be the leader.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. That's part of the problem.
But it's because, and I want you to remember this, it's because they both saw themselves as head of state.
Absolutely.
Why am I saying that? you laugh at this. So we go to parliament, we get 36 seats. Remember, Dandala is the head of the parliamentary caucus. Yes. Because he was our presidential candidate. Yes. We already treat him like the president with the presidential unit around him. Yeah. We treated it as a president's office, which I had the honor to run, right? And without digressing, I said to him at some point, Reverend, who's going to be your cabinet? Yeah. Because when you look around, he says, when I look around, I just see chaos. Yeah. That's why I say that guy's a prophet. Yeah. Because he had said, in fact, if COPE loses elections, it will be a blessing in disguise. Yeah. We didn't want to hear that message when we were on the front line campaigning. Yeah. Right? Yeah. But look at what happened. We get 36 seats, not 400 seats, 36. Terra then says, oh, I want to go to parliament. Yeah. But no, Chief, to do what? You told the country you are not looking for position. Yeah. Secondly, the leader of our caucus, our presidential candidate, is going to be the leader of the opposition in parliament. Yeah. You stay at the head office. Imagine if we had won elections. Jesus. And Dandala was our presidential candidate. Yeah. I don't doubt that Terra would have taken him out. And I mean literally. I don't mean take him out in caucuses. Take him out. You think that big? I'm not thinking it. I know it. And he must come and say here, crook that chap. Sure. Crooked to the core. You understand? How do you have an organization that there's a hit list where people are listed to say, eliminate these people?
Inside the organization.
Inside the organization. How do you have that?
Get them out.
No, eliminate. I'm not joking with you. You understand? This is total chaos.
That's crazy.
This guy's unleashed on all of us. I met him at one of the eating joints here in Midrand, and I said to him, you really outmaneuvered us. Yeah. And he got Bazima to walk far away from politics with rubbish, allegations of corruption, which were not the case. You can blame Bazima for many things, not corruption. But here's the corrupt one. The story of that guy is yet to be told. As Malema said in Parliament, when consciousness leaves, it doesn't knock. Yeah. That guy's lost all consciousness. Why would he stay even after a stroke? Yeah. He still hold on to power to a point where people come to a press conference to try and remove him and whatever. He destroyed any potential of that place. Yeah. Single-handedly.
Sure.
And if there's my only regret about Cope is terror. If I knew how he is, I would not have gone there. Right? Anything else I don't regret. I think that the ANC needs a counterforce. They were too arrogant.
Yeah.
And
they still do need.
No, at least right now they are getting better. Yeah, because GNU has humbled them a little bit.
Yeah.
To racism, Lekota was addressing the party's municipal election candidates in Khayelitsha on the Cape Flats. Well, Lekota says COPE is still a political party to be reckoned with and says they are going all out to win the upcoming municipal elections. He told party candidates that they must uphold the constitution in every decision they take. He bemoaned the EFF for not singing Distem as part of the national anthem and insisted the majority of parliamentarians had violated the constitution and the oath of office on the Nkandla issue.
If my child goes into Grey College or Bishops or Pearl Boys High with white children and they qualify, same teachers, same facilities, same everything, but then you say, because mine is darker in complexion, mine must get a job ahead of this other child, even when this other white child has achieved better results than my child. How can that not be racism? If it's not racism, what is it?
Do you guys still remember COPE, the Congress of the People, which came into existence in the late 2008? I remember very well. I was 22 years old at the time. I'm not sure how many of you guys who are here in my platform who were old enough at the time to have witnessed COPE. COPE, which is the Congress of the People, came into existence as a result of what had happened just about a year earlier in the ANC 52nd National Conference in Polokwane, what is known as the Polokwane Conference, where the then sitting president of the ANC was defeated in a hotly contested leadership battle, was defeated by his deputy. The sitting president at the time, it was Thabo Mbeki. So the deputy president, it was Jacob Zuma. So Jacob Zuma defeated Thabo Mbeki in Polokwane. That is December 2007. Then what now that ANC had in their hands? They now had the two centers of power. Because at the time, Thabo Mbeki was also the state president. Okay, was a state president with his term running up until April, May 2009. So this conference happens December 2007. So Thabo Mbeki is defeated, and Thabo Mbeki at the time, there's allegations at the time that he has centralized power, has taken power away from the Luthuli House and has centralized power in the Mahlamba in Pretoria. Meaning now the ANC had no say. So now after Thabo Mbeki losing the power, the control of the ANC, it then became a question to say, but how do you continue with this individual? This is what led then to the 2008 September recalling of Thabo Mbeki, where he had to resign. The ANC recalled him. Then the recalling of Thabo Mbeki saw a massive resignations of those who were serving in the Thabo Mbeki's cabinet. They resigned in mass. Then they left. So these are the very same people who then went on, because others like Basma Shilowa, at the time Basma Shilowa was the premier of Gauteng province. Terra Lekota was the minister of defense. So they then went outside, met and mobilized. Then they launched the Congress of the People, COPE, in December 2008. This COPE was seen as a tsunami, was seen as a real alternative to the ANC. Not necessarily because of any policy shift. Because if you are to inspect or interrogate COPE's policies offerings, they were not different from that of the ANC. It's just that these are the people who are disgruntled by the emergence of Jacob Zuma, as they felt that they could not be led by Jacob Zuma. Unfortunately, COPE did not live long. It did not live long because then as we were approaching the national and provincial elections for April 2009, then COPE had the dilemma now to say between Mbazima Shiloh and Msua Lukota, who should be their president, or rather the face of the campaign, because at the time we told them Msua Lukota is the president, the Shiloh is the deputy president, but who should be the face of their campaign? Hence then they went to Reverend Dandala. They went to Reverend Dandala to be their face of the election campaign. Right after the elections, then COPE started dissipating. They started having infightings. And as we speak now, COPE is left with one, or they don't have any member of parliament, if I'm not mistaken. That's COPE. If you guys cared to know, so happen I don't know what is COPE and how COPE came about. Thank you guys for tuning in. My name is Tibos Kosana. The name of the platform is